Oh, you found some bells, good. Okay, so how many in here have had the pleasure of experiencing Rob Wergin? Yay, okay, we got a lot of fans here, Rob. So today it's really so exciting to have Rob here. Everybody's been amazing so far, and Rob is just following suit with the energy and just helping us become lighter and lighter and becoming who we're meant to be at this important time on planet Earth. And so I'd like to just take a moment to give you a brief introduction to Rob. And Rob is a clairvoyant, clairsentient, and clairaudient who leads transformational sessions throughout the United States. At a young age, he realized he was able to heal animals and communicate with spirits. Not yet understanding these gifts, he learned to ignore them. But after working in corporate America for 30 years, he received now what he calls the ultimate cosmic 2x4. Since then, Wergin has dedicated his life to being a vessel for divine light and love and benefiting others. Diseases, discomforts, and dysfunctions of the body are actually gifts, says Wergin. Gifts created by our soul and the divine. They are powerful gifts that are packaged in ways we cannot ignore. And because we cannot ignore them, we are given the opportunity to do something about them. He's currently featured in the new full-length film Heal, along with Deepak Chopra, Michael Beckwith, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, and many others. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Rob Wergin.
I have a stage phobia. Not really, I just like to be up close and personal. It's a lot more fun. So, since some of you don't know me, let me just tell you a little bit about me, just a little bit. But first, uncross your legs, please. Take a deep breath, please. I hope you're all here to have some deep healing because it's already started on every one of you. So just take a deep breath. There are many, 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 many beings in this room. Some of you can see them, most of you can feel them. They are here because they love you. They are here because they want you to end your suffering. They are here because when they help you, you help them. Most people don't understand that when we ask for help and help is received, there's an amazing energy exchange. There's an energy exchange with them because we help them heal and ascend. So please never feel bashful or greedy or I'm asking too much, because they're there to assist you and we're here to assist them. It's an energy exchange. Do you understand that? So take another deep breath. When I was a little boy, I used to heal animals. And, you know, when I was 5 years old, I lived in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I thought every little boy did that. My parents were German, Missouri Synod Lutherans. They never let the Bible out of their sight, much less out of their hand. And so we were all raised to be good little Lutherans, right? Everything was about the church first. And what I learned as a little boy was you would ask God for help and let God help. Yes? Very simple. So when I was a little boy and I would walk down the little trail that I would do every day, almost every day there would be an animal there. A bird, a rabbit, sometimes a deer that was injured or hurt. And the animal would just stand in the trail and look at me with these beautiful eyes, like, please help me. And I would remember what my parents taught me, which was ask God for help. So I'd say, God, please help this deer, this rabbit, this raccoon, whatever it was. Please help this animal. And I would simply gently touch the animal. And this enormous amount of energy would fly, enter the top of my spine, shoot down my arm. The rabbit would jump or whatever, and it would be fine. And I'd say, thank you, God. Really simple, isn't it? The part that was not so simple was that my parents thought I was possessed. They thought I had been taken over by the devil, right? And I call this gift number one. The first gift in my life was when my parents took me to the Lutheran church and had an exorcism performed. Gift. Why? Because they could have taken me to the Shrine Circus instead and said, here, this kid can heal stuff. Let's see how much money we can make. But instead, they scared it out of me. And in doing so, allowed me to have the next 49 years of my life as a normal human being. And I'm a type A. I'm very aggressive. And so by the time I was 21, I was a millionaire, and by the time I was 25, I was running huge companies, and I had the nicest cars, the nicest watches, the best clothes, drank the finest wine, flew first class, later in private jets, private helicopters. I had a lot of money because that was my focus. And all that time, all my life, I spent lots of money buying crystals and books on spiritism and books on shamanism and books on healing. And I never read them. I had this beautiful library in my house filled with feathers and crystals and amethysts and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I had this beautiful double terminated crystal, which I still have beautifully clear, that I would sleep with every night. Now, if anybody said, why did you have those? I would say, because they're pretty. I didn't realize that I was remembering who I was, but not fully, right? So, long story short, when I was 51 years old, I tried to kill myself. Because when I was 3 years before that, everything that I had spent my life working for had been taken from me. So I went from being a multi-millionaire and having everything that I thought I should have to having 11 cents in one day. And when you're 50 years old and you're a guy and everything that you think is important to you is taken from you, it doesn't work well with a guy's ego, right? So I spent a lot of time drinking Stolichnaya vodka and taking a lot of pain pills and just spinning down to the dark night of the soul. And so on February 22nd in 2003, I was really excited because it was going to be the last day of my life. God had another idea for me. And so on the beach that day, when I was in the process of taking a bunch of pills, God or whoever that is, can't swear that this is true, there wasn't anybody there but me, grabbed me and said, hey, remember when you were a little boy? How about doing that instead? Say yes or no right now. You know, and I said, okay. You know, and people said, wow, that was really brave of you. No, it wasn't. It was an easy answer to a big problem, right? And so I said yes, and a whole bunch of stuff happened, and you know, we don't have enough time. But all of a sudden, people started coming to me. And I've never been trained. I didn't even go to a workshop. I wasn't even sure how to spell healing or healer. And people started coming. And Then I moved to Sedona, and lots more people started coming. And since that time, I've seen over 80-some thousand people. And I've seen people in all parts of the world, and I've seen people that are young, old, rich, poor, black, white, yellow, green, sick. You know, I've seen it all. I don't think there's anything I haven't seen. I've seen possessions, demonic stuff. I've seen just about everything. And the one thing I know to be true is if you trust and believe, somebody used that word this morning, right? Believe. When you trust and believe and truly surrender to the divine, everything is possible. Everything. We did a workshop last weekend here in Flat Rock for the eclipse. We did a 3-day healing event. Some of you were here. There was a young lady there that was in a motorized wheelchair that hadn't been able to walk for 5 years. And she was giving birth to her son, and something happened, and she couldn't walk. And she was there. Like, there's 2 or 3 of you that were here, right? Yes? Okay. So if I fib, you get me, okay? I said to her the first night, by Monday morning, you're going to be walking. You know, she's like, you know how many people I've been to in the last 5 years? Do you know how many healers I've been to? How many practitioners I've been to? I don't know. And I said, stop. I want you to see yourself standing up out of that wheelchair on Monday morning and walking. See it, feel it in your body as if it's already occurred. And on Monday morning, you're going to do that. Guess what? She did. Some of you saw it. We all cried. Because that's what's available to all of you. You see that? She believed it. She surrendered to the divine. And she got rid of all her stuff about, I've been to all these healers, I've been to all these doctors. Everybody told me I wasn't going to get any better. And I said, erase that. Get your eraser out and erase all that stuff. Because as long as you believe that, that's what you're going to have. If you believe you're going to walk, you're going to walk. And she did. And I've talked to her every day this week. She's up to like 20 feet walking. You know, now obviously she's not, you know, she's a little wobbly, but she hasn't walked for 5 years. There's a friend of mine here. Come here, girlfriend. This young lady walked up to me at break and said, remember when you saw me at Namaste last year? You know, say it, you can say it into my microphone.
I no longer take rheumatoid arthritis medications. I am arthritis free.
So understand that what you will see today and feel today and know today is not me. I want to make sure that's very clear. This guy you see, Rob, up here pacing back and forth, looks like Rob, talks like Rob, quacks like Rob. And right now Rob is over there in a chair, and there are beings using me to do this work. I am not doing the work. What I've learned how to do is to get out of the way, get out of my space, and let the divine work through me. People want to know who I'm working with. The answer is, I'm not telling. Here's why. If I told you that I was working with Daffy Duck, all of you would have your own opinion of Daffy Duck. Probably some judgment around Daffy Duck, some religious connotation around Daffy Duck, and you wouldn't be happy to work with me because you don't like Daffy Duck, right? Or you might be Buddhist, and you're like, well, how come the Buddha isn't working with you? Or you might be Native American, and you're like, how come somebody isn't working with you? You see that? It doesn't matter, because if I told you who worked with me, it's who I recognize that I'm working with, and you all would have some judgment or some energy around it, good, bad, or other, and it would change the velocity of your healing You see that? Does that make sense? So no, I'm not telling. Number two, whatever you are thinking of right now, that you're hoping that these beings that are working with Rob are going to help with you today, I want you to get out another eraser and erase it. If you came here because you thought that maybe I was going to help your right shoulder or your right knee or your lower back pain, erase it. Imagine that wherever in your body is not working right now is a big, beautiful flower. Imagine, okay? You got it? Migraine headache, so you've got a big flower in your hip. I want you to think now that that flower is attached to a 6-foot-tall thistle plant. Everybody know what a thistle plant looks like? So big thorns, they really hurt you. People like to pull them out of their yard. They're great medicinal plants, but people don't like them. Imagine that what you're feeling in your body, or what you're feeling in your emotional body, is that flower in the thistle plant. The flower is the outcome, or the manifestation, from that thistle plant. It is not the thistle plant. It is not the roots underneath the thistle plant. Your life, your ancestors' life, your past lives, your karma, your everything is that thistle plant. People go to doctors, healers, whatever, and often the flower is cut off. And we think, okay, they got the flower. And then a few days later, they're like, uh-oh, it's back. The work that we're going to do here today, which has already begun, is to pull the thistle plant out by the roots. Because unless we do that, whatever you brought in this room is going to come back. And what I know to be true is that all you really are aware of is the flower on top of the thistle plant. You're not aware of all the thorns and things that happened in your lineage 7 generations back, and all the stuff that happened in your past lives 100 lifetimes back, or whatever that's underneath that flower that you don't even know about. So when I say erase the flower, it's because the flower is only the top. It's the manifestation today. The rest of it is what we need to get. Does that make sense? Okay, so everybody take a nice deep breath. And just imagine that there is beautiful light coming down through your head, because there is. Imagine that there are so many light beings from so many places around you with the intention to set you free from the past, because there is. If you don't believe it, they'll still be there, and so will your thistle. If you trust and believe and have faith in the fact that in this space, in this moment, there are thousands of beings. Some you know, some you don't know, some from other planets, some from other places, it doesn't matter. Before you came back from break, I created sacred space in here. The only beings that can survive in this space are the most sacred of beings. There's no room for anything less than that. As your body releases whatever it is going to release in your body, it goes into sacred space. If the person next to you makes a noise or has a big release, it's not coming to you, it's going into the sacred space. It might trigger something in you that needs to be triggered, but can't catch what the next person has. You're not going to get what the person next to you's got. Not going to happen. Does it make sense? Everybody ready to let go?
Yes.
Okay, take a nice deep breath. Is there anybody in here that really wants to let go? I mean, like seriously has pain?